What's going on? Well, something big is happening in Europe right now, today, as Germany leads military drills in the Baltic Sea against what they claim is an imminent Russian invasion. Yes, Germany is leading. They are the spearhead on this. No surprise at all if you've been watching the videos here. And they've called this Quadriga 2025. So this is the rapid deployment of troops to Lithuania, which borders on Kaliningrad, as well as Belarus, which they claim is in direct counter to the Russian and Belarus exercise that is about to take place. So they are preparing for conflict, is what the German Ministry of Defense is saying. And as you can imagine here, Putin is not best pleased. In fact, if you believe the reports, it says he is furious about this military exercise, as Germany is calling it, moving all the troops, moving all the equipment to the border here. In fact, here's the stats. Over 8,000 personnel are already in position from 14 different countries. This is Baltic Sea NATO members, the United States, United Kingdom, France, and Canada are all in position. But wait, there's more. There are over 40 ships, 20 aircraft, 1,800 vehicles, and intercepting drones, Eurofighters, escorting military transport vessels. I mean, this is a serious deal. And what's the German general said? Here it is. His name's Carsten Brewer. He stressed that Germany is the logistical hub of NATO, since nearly all supply routes to Eastern Europe run through it. And he says that they are the spearhead. Germany is to be the powerhouse in Europe yet again. Okay, we're about a third of the way up the mountain now then. So what did the general say? He says Quadriga 2025 overlaps in timing, but not with the geography, with the upcoming Russian Belarus Zapad exercise, which involves 13,000 troops. He said his purpose is deterrence, not escalation. It always makes me laugh when a foreign force puts huge numbers of military weapons and everything right on the border of another country, in this case Russia, and they say this is not to escalate in any way, it's just to deter you from attacking us. Interesting. It's no surprise as well today then that Putin has rejected the plan for Western troops in Ukraine right next to Russia. And you can see why. I mean, I get it. I thought it was interesting today when all the EU leaders were in outrage. They say, how dare Putin tell us that we can't put our troops and all of our missile systems and equipment and military bases in Ukraine. Well, again, it doesn't matter which side of the fence you sit on with this whole argument. If it were your country, would you want, what is it, 17 different, actually, it's anywhere from 17 to 26 different countries putting their militaries right on your border? I mean, if I were that leader, I wouldn't like it either. This is where the comments come in. Putin sympathizer, this guy. Make sure to click the like and subscribe button, by the way, if you haven't already. Let's keep going up the mountain here. Okay, so since I've told you about Quadriga, let me tell you about the counter exercise, which is Zapad. This is between Russia and Belarus. So there's a lot of contradictory information on this at the moment. Russia and Belarus said there'll be 13,000 troops participating in this, but NATO and a lot of Western media have put the figure at, actually they say it's 100,000 to 150,000 troops. And that is why they are saying that they think this is going to be an invasion force, that they are pretending is an exercise. But again, we hear this all the time. And every time I say, I don't believe it. And what happens? In fact, the one time I did believe it was when I made that video saying, have you seen all these Russian troops building up on the border of Ukraine? And they're practicing parachute jumps and all sorts. I said, this doesn't look right. It looks like more like there's something about to kick off. And then nothing happened for months. 2 or 3 months, nothing happened. So I said, oh, okay, I was wrong. Nothing was about to kick off. And then it did kick off. It actually kicked off with this massive conflict with Russia and Ukraine. So now the media is saying, which they've been saying for years now, Russia is going to invade the whole of Europe. They're preparing for it. So that, again, this has come up again. This 100 to 150,000 force, they say this is an invasion force, and that is why Germany is spearheading a counter force just in case. Well, I think you're going to need a little bit more than 10,000 or so troops if they've really got 150,000 troops. So again, I smell something here, and it's nothing good. But the only thing I do think is a little bit concerning with the Russian and Belarusian drills is that they are testing hypersonic and nuclear weapons. This is according to the Russian ministry as well. This is not Western media. They are saying themselves. Now, is that a deterrence? Is that a countermeasure? I think it's a little bit of both, actually. What else has been said? Well, here's all the reactions. Ukraine has warned Belarus against staging provocations, or they will be in the crosshairs of Ukraine. As in, the Ukraine military will, I guess, declare an act of war on Belarus from their actions. Lithuania has launched its own large-scale exercise. It's called Thunderstrike. This is 17,000 troops which have amassed on the border to counter this. Germany is moving forward with 5 Eurofighters that they've sent to bases in Poland. And then there's Latvia, which has completely downplayed the whole thing, and they seem to just laugh it off as if, what's the big deal? So you've got some very differing reactions depending on who it is. Of course, the EU leaders are acting as if this is World War III that's just about to kick off. And don't forget what was just declared yesterday, and I covered this in a video yesterday. This is 26 countries have agreed to this coalition of the willing now. They're going to be putting boots on the ground. Yes, you did hear me correctly then. Boots on the ground. They're putting soldiers into Ukraine. We don't know how many at the moment. It could be thousands. It could be, well, in fact, it won't be thousands. It's going to be tens of thousands. Because if each country needs to put in enough troops to deter Russia, you know this is going to be an enormous force. But I thought Starmer and Macron were absolutely ridiculous with their comments. All this stuff about now is the time to stand up, men and women, to stand up and fight. Fight for what's right and all this. And it's like, hold on, haven't we been standing up and fighting for what's right, and we've been getting thrown in prison for doing that? No, what they mean is, they mean stand up and fight as long as it's what they tell you to fight for, where they're making huge amounts of profits. Yes, that's what they mean when they say to stand up and fight. We got some logging operations going on up here, and it's pretty impressive they get this equipment up the mountain here. Very impressive. Okay, we're almost to the top now. Almost to the top. I'm guessing this used to be some sort of a quarry here then, because you've got a building there, and then looks like they've carved out or cut through the stone here. So let's go and take a look. So as you look at this beautiful setting here then, let me ask you this. Have you actually studied what happened during World War I and World War II to your national currency? If not, you might want to do that. And my second question is, during a period of war, do you really trust your savings and pension to hold their value? No, of course not, because they will print more and weaken your savings. But the good news is you don't need to be a victim to all of this, because there's been a proven way for thousands of years to protect yourself, and that's with tangible physical assets, especially during times of conflict, instability, whether it's geopolitical, whether it's war. There's always been ways to protect yourself with tangible assets. In fact, for thousands of years, gold and silver have been the ultimate store of value. And that's why I created the ultimate gold and silver investing program. In fact, it's 2 courses, not just one course. One is the foundational course for those of you who don't really know anything about gold and silver investing. And then there's the advanced course. Now, the advanced course, we do technical analysis. This weekend is going to be launched on Saturday. It's charting. We're charting gold and silver, especially because there's a massive opportunity in silver over the next decade. So we did the charts on that. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Protect your pension, protect your savings, all for a fraction of what you've probably got in your pension and savings. And in fact, you don't need thousands to get yourself started. You can start with just $50. That's all. Getting your first coin. It's very, very straightforward. Thousands of students have taken my programs. Now you can read all the testimonials, you can watch the videos and prove for yourself. So when this next financial panic happens, you can sit back and relax, knowing that you took action early, rather than all these other people that will be running around like headless chickens as their savings. Unfortunately, will get absolutely hit hard. So the link is in the description below. See what you think. If it's right for you, go ahead and read more about it. Another thing Macron said, which I think is incredibly insulting to Americans, especially so close to this military anniversary we've just had, is that he said the time for waiting for Washington to do the right thing, the honorable thing, is over. He then launched into this what I would describe as an attack against President Trump, against the US, saying that they've just left Europe out to dry and that they really don't care about Europe. He said that they're, and again, I'm paraphrasing here, but he's sort of talking about how selfish they've become, Americans and all this other stuff. Well, I think that's what President Trump said at the start. He said America first is the new policy. And we'll get on to his announcement about European troops in Europe shortly in the video here. And Starmer is no better, because even though these analysts, these experts said, you don't want to keep saying all of this rhetoric and threatening to put all these troops on the Russian border because you are going to antagonize the situation when we're so close to peace. Starmer seemed to think he was some sort of a tough guy. He just doubled down and made his rhetoric even more aggressive. And yet, whilst they were there preaching about doing the right thing and honor and integrity and all these other things, Hungary and Slovakia protested. They said, we must protest that Ukraine has just blown up the oil pipeline that supplied energy to our countries, and we need that energy. This is going to impoverish the people and the country. The EU basically didn't even acknowledge it. So despite this explosion, again, another, how many more of these are we going to have? They didn't even acknowledge it. And before we talk about the other big, in fact, it's huge news, which is all around the US cuts to the eastern flank now, European flank. This is going to be huge. I'm surprised the media haven't picked up on it yet. I was just thinking there about a little example, let's put the sunglasses on, with Macron and Starmer. So what you've got is some very powerful militaries in both, well, throughout Europe. You've also got the US, you've got Canada, you've got a lot of these very powerful militaries, especially the US military. And you think how much conflict some of these countries have been in for many years. So they've got a lot of experience here. And this was the example I was thinking about. So let's say that I hiked up this mountain today with some of my buddies, and we put on a really heavy pack, and we decided we were going to do some sort of endurance event, something like that, right? And someone like Macron or Starmer was our team leader. Okay, so think of it like this. You've got these men who are fit, let's say like, I'm ex-military, 10 years, I used to love going up the mountains with my pack on. Let's say you got men like me, so there's 9 of us, right? And we want to do this endurance event. So we're fairly tough, rugged guys. And then you've got Starmer, right? And Starmer is the leader of that team. How well do you think we would perform? Not very well at all, because you're only as strong as your weakest member. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go strong and you want to go together, go as a team. Well, if you've got a weakling in your team is ineffective, it's inefficient. So how on earth are these two leaders supposed to be leading the spearhead, the military spearhead? How on earth are they going to lead this, is my question to you. I just don't think they can. They are too weak. You need strong men to lead what is coming in the future. All right, let's head up a little bit here. So yeah, Trump has announced he's going to be, whoa, slippy there. He's going to be cutting the military to the eastern flank. This is official now. It's called, let me tell you the official name of this. It's called the Baltic Security Initiative, which has been in place since 2018 and reinforced NATO's eastern flank. Well, Trump said that we're not going to be paying for that anymore. He doesn't want to reinforce that anymore because it costs too much money. And the Europeans need to do it for themselves. And this is why Europe, the EU leaders, are so angry, because they thought that they could just rely on the US indefinitely to defend them. And that's just not the case anymore. All right, let's go in here. Let's go and see what this building is here behind. So Ursula von der Leyen has said that this is unfair. She said it will leave Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania without critical military support, and they will be easy targets for Russia to overtake these countries. Again, all propaganda. I don't actually believe that myself, but if you do, let me know in the comments below why you do believe that. But Trump's been very clear as to why. He said they need their resources to prepare for a possible threat with China. And I don't think he's far wrong with that. There is a threat coming with the US and China. This could be the big war. This could be the war of all wars if this really kicks off, because I don't think we've ever had two militaries as powerful as the US and China. So this could be huge. Okay, let's go and check this building out now then. Here we go. I'm guessing, in fact, no, I won't guess until I look inside what this is. That looks like a chimney to me, and this looks like a mine, so I'm guessing this was used. Let's have a look in here. Let's have a look. Okay, in the comments below, drop your comments in as to what you think this was. Here we go. Let's have a look in here then. Let's get in here. Can't see any burn marks on the wall. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for black marks on the wall. Okay, someone help me out here. What was this? What was this used for? Why is there a huge chimney at the top there? Because I am not sure. The other big news out today, of course, is the rebrand. Trump loves rebranding things. The Department of Defense, the DoD, is to become the DOW, the Department of War. This was 1789, I believe it was called the Department of War, and then it was 1948 that they rebranded it to the Department of Defense because they wanted to soften it. But now Hegseth and Trump, they said it's too soft, it's too weak, it doesn't invoke fear in our enemies, so we're going to call it the Department of War. And remember to like, subscribe and share this video with someone who you think is like-minded. Okay, here we go then. Here's your beautiful view from almost the top of the mountain here. You can see the sea in the background there on this beautiful day here on the Isle of Man. Thank you as always for being a subscriber here and sharing these videos with your friends and family. And make sure to check out the Gold and Silver program. Do yourself a big favor there, or get it for one of your family members or your spouse, your partner for their birthday or something. Thanks so much for watching. Take care. God bless. See you on the next one.